When Jay Weatherill appears at this weekend's State Labor Convention, he'll be asked to reverse a series of unpopular decisions made under the leadership of Mike Rann and Kevin Foley. Among them is a proposed $2 million cut to community centres around the state. As Rebecca Bryce reports, those in the sector say the cuts would force many centres to close and reduce vital services to people most in need.
Basically, I was a young guy that had nothing better to do than scribble on things.
I'm from a city alive with the sky vanilla, known as the city of churches, humming the serial killer.
Yeah, heaps of run-ins with police, just paint, like, basically we were the biggest group of people that wanted to paint, and generally they started looking for us at the certain tunnels that we'd painted at creeks, just, I don't know why, to really catch us, you know, but they wanted to catch us and stop us from graffitiing on these creek walls.
7 years ago, Dylan Beckley was scribbling and spraying his way into crime. But when his son started childcare at the Davern Park Community Centre, Dylan Beckley's life took a turn.
Before I enrolled my son there, I actually thought the place was abandoned, and it just hadn't been tidied up or neatened up. And to keep my son happy and all his friends, I came across with a proposal to start painting and brighten it up with some colours rather than the grey Columbine walls.
It was one of his first brushes with legal artwork. Through the community centre, he began taking volunteer art classes and later set up a business selling his works. He's still running into police though.
When they come and congratulate me on my work and tell me how good it is that I'm doing legal stuff, especially when I've got other kids from the area that were considered misfits now dressing nicely and painting things appropriately.
Here in Salisbury North, quilters make blankets for themselves and for premature babies. And newly arrived Australians are learning about important services such as doctors and the local library. All of these things, Jill McFadden says, highlight the importance of community centres.
We're in contact with about 35,000 people in local communities every week, have about 15,000 hours of volunteer contribution every week. They are very much the heart of over 100 communities throughout South Australia.
But she fears those hearts will be broken by state government funding cuts. The Family and Community Development Fund is a major source of finance for community centres. But Jill McFadden says slicing 23% or about $2 million from funding will force closures.
We're very fearful for some of the centres. Some centres, it really is their only funding, and for many they don't have local government support, and so they're particularly vulnerable.
Around 70 centres will potentially be impacted, and certainly we would understand that across those 70, a number of them would at the very least have particular programs are cut. I couldn't tell you the exact number of centres that could close, but certainly a number of centres rely predominantly on this funding.
The union says workers will be vulnerable too.
The ASU's members are the workers in the community centres and neighbourhood houses, and we've spoken a lot with them about the incredibly negative impact that those cuts will have on young people, on people on low incomes, on families that actually come and access their centres.
People like Angie Rosler, who turned to the Mannum Community Centre at a time of need.
I hadn't been working for 6 years, so it took a period of 6 years to get over my injury.
Being out of work all that time had left her emotionally defeated. She says volunteering at the centre sparked renewed self-esteem, and within months she had a job there. After a 33-year break, she started studying again too, and was recently named Adult Learner of the Year.
Without the motivation and the support, I wouldn't even be where I am now. I couldn't dream of, what I'm doing now is beyond what I could have dreamed of.
Outgoing Families and Communities Minister Jennifer Rankin was too busy to speak to this program. She says there have been no significant changes to the Family and Community Development program for around 20 years, so
a decision was made to review the program to make sure the funding was being best directed to meet the needs of the community and ensure there is no duplication of services. The review is still continuing.
Not content, the sector will take its cause to this weekend's State Labor Convention with a motion calling for a reversal of the funding decision.
We have started to have discussions and we do believe that it will get up on the floor of convention, but there are some discussions still going on around the content of it.
A group of disgruntled choristers singing this song will greet the new Premier and his colleagues at the convention, where they'll also be presented with Broken Heart biscuits.
This cut is crazy. I mean, who would, in their right minds, cut funding from the heart of communities? And sometimes we find it difficult as a sector to have a voice. I think this is our opportunity to say, look, we are here, this sector matters.
If we weren't there and they had serious issues and problems that they were facing, they would have nowhere to turn to, nowhere to guide them, no point of contact service to point them in the right direction.
If you cut the funds, who's going to help the people?
It'll be an interesting day. Rebecca Bryce reporting.